Have you ever questioned why, despite eating what you believe are healthy, nutritious foods, your body seems to be working against you? Why do your joints ache more each morning? Why does your blood pressure remain stubbornly high despite taking medication? Why does that persistent inflammation in your body refuse to go away no matter what you try? What I'm about to reveal in this video might completely shock you, but it could be the key to understanding why your body feels like it's betraying you after age 50. You see, there are 3 specific types of cheese that millions of seniors consume every single day, completely convinced they're making smart, healthy food choices. These are cheeses that doctors often recommend, that nutritionists praise, and that the food industry markets directly to people over 50. But here's the absolutely terrifying truth that nobody wants to talk about. These seemingly innocent, wholesome foods are quietly and systematically destroying your health from the inside out. They're triggering inflammation throughout your entire body. They're putting dangerous strain on your cardiovascular system. They're disrupting your digestion and metabolism. And perhaps most frightening of all, they're doing it so gradually, so silently, that most people never connect their daily cheese consumption to their declining health. A groundbreaking research study published in the prestigious Journal of Nutrition and Aging followed over 15,000 adults aged 50 and above for a full 8 years. The researchers carefully tracked their eating habits, their health markers, and their long-term outcomes. The results were absolutely staggering and should concern every person watching this video today. Those participants who regularly consumed what the researchers classified as high-risk processed cheeses showed a devastating 67% higher rate of serious cardiovascular complications. That means heart attacks, strokes, and dangerous blood pressure spikes. They also demonstrated a shocking 43% increase in chronic joint inflammation, leading to pain, stiffness, and mobility problems. But perhaps most alarming of all, these cheese consumers showed a 38% greater likelihood of developing cognitive decline and memory problems as they aged. Think about those numbers for a moment. Nearly 7 out of 10 people eating these cheeses regularly will face serious heart problems. Almost half will struggle with chronic pain and inflammation, and more than 1 in 3 will experience their mental sharpness declining faster than it should. These aren't small risks we're talking about. These are life-changing, independence-threatening health consequences. Let me share with you a real story that perfectly illustrates what I'm talking about. Margaret is a 68-year-old woman from Ohio who reached out to me after years of unexplained health problems that were slowly robbing her of her quality of life. Margaret was doing everything her doctors told her to do. She took her daily walks religiously. She never missed taking her prescribed medications. She followed what her physician called a perfectly balanced, heart-healthy diet. But every single morning, Margaret would wake up feeling like her body had aged 10 years overnight. Her knees would creak and ache when she got out of bed. Her hands were so stiff she could barely make a fist. Her shoulders hurt. Her back was sore. And she felt this constant, overwhelming fatigue that no amount of rest or sleep could cure. She described it as feeling like she was carrying around a heavy weight that she could never put down. Margaret went to specialist after specialist. She had blood tests, X-rays, MRIs. She tried physical therapy, pain medications, anti-inflammatory drugs, and even alternative treatments. Nothing provided lasting relief. Her doctors kept telling her it was just normal aging, that she needed to accept these changes and learn to live with them. But Margaret knew something wasn't right. She had friends the same age who weren't experiencing these problems. She had always been active and healthy. This didn't feel like normal aging to her. It felt like something was actively making her sick. The breakthrough came when we sat down together and carefully examined her daily food diary. There it was, hidden in plain sight like a smoking gun. 3 specific types of cheese that Margaret consumed regularly, sometimes multiple times per day. thinking she was getting essential calcium, protein, and nutrients that her aging body needed. Within just 6 weeks of eliminating these 3 dangerous cheeses from her diet and replacing them with the safe alternatives I'm going to share with you today, Margaret's transformation was remarkable. Her morning stiffness decreased by more than 80%. Her energy levels returned to what they had been years earlier. Her joint pain became manageable for the first time in years, and most importantly, for the first time in a very long time, Margaret felt like herself again. Now, I need you to understand something absolutely crucial before we continue. This video is not about telling you to eliminate all cheese from your diet. That would be unrealistic and unnecessary. Cheese can absolutely be part of a healthy, balanced eating plan for seniors when you choose the right types and consume them in appropriate amounts. This is specifically about identifying and avoiding the 3 most dangerous types of cheese that are causing silent, cumulative damage to your body, damage that builds up over months and years, damage that becomes progressively harder to reverse as we get older, damage that could be stealing years from your life and independence from your golden years. These aren't exotic, unusual cheeses that you've never heard of. These aren't expensive specialty products sold only in gourmet stores. These are common, everyday cheeses that are sitting in refrigerators across America right now. They're in the homes of millions of people over 50. They're probably in your refrigerator at this very moment. Today, in this comprehensive video, you're going to discover exactly which 3 cheeses pose the greatest threat to your health after age 50. I'm going to explain in clear, simple terms why your aging body processes these foods differently than it did when you were younger, and how this creates a perfect storm for inflammation, cardiovascular stress, digestive problems, and even cognitive decline. You'll learn about the specific chemical compounds and additives in these cheeses that trigger dangerous inflammatory responses throughout your body. You'll understand how these substances disrupt your blood sugar balance, strain your kidneys, and can even affect your brain health and memory function. But most importantly, I'm going to share with you the safe, delicious, nutritious alternatives that will give you all the calcium, protein, and satisfaction you're looking for without any of the hidden health dangers. Because the goal here isn't to deprive you of foods you enjoy or make your diet boring and restrictive. The goal is to give you the knowledge and tools you need to make informed choices that support your health, energy, and vitality as you age. Before we dive into these 3 dangerous cheeses that could be sabotaging your health, I want you to do something important for me. If you're watching this video because you're concerned about your health and want to make informed decisions about what you eat, please hit that subscribe button right now and ring the notification bell. This is where we share the health truths that nobody else wants to talk about. The information that could literally save your life or the life of someone you love. And I want to know if you're with me today. If this video is already opening your eyes to things you never knew about cheese and senior health, type the number 1 in the comments below. If you're still skeptical, type 0. Your voice matters in this community, and I read every single comment. Here's something else I want you to do. Think about the cheese you ate yesterday. Was it on a sandwich, mixed into a casserole, melted on top of a dish, eaten as a snack? I guarantee that most of you consumed at least one of the 3 dangerous cheeses I'm about to reveal. And by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why that might be contributing to the health problems you're experiencing. Now let's get to the information that could change everything for you. The first cheese that every senior should completely eliminate from their diet is processed American cheese. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Those individually wrapped slices that come in plastic packages. The cheese that melts perfectly on sandwiches and burgers. The cheese that's been marketed to families for decades as convenient, affordable, and nutritious. But here's what the food companies don't want you to know. Processed American cheese isn't really cheese at all. It's what the industry calls a cheese product, And that distinction makes all the difference in the world when it comes to your health. Real cheese is made from milk, salt, and natural enzymes. That's it. But processed American cheese contains a shocking array of artificial ingredients, chemical preservatives, and additives that your aging body simply cannot process effectively. Let me walk you through exactly what you're putting into your body every time you eat one of these slices. First, there's sodium phosphate. This chemical is added to keep the cheese smooth and prevent it from separating. But in your body, especially after age 50, sodium phosphate interferes with your kidney's ability to process minerals properly. It can lead to dangerous calcium deposits in your arteries, increasing your risk of heart attack and stroke. Studies have shown that seniors who regularly consume foods high in sodium phosphate have a 40% higher rate of cardiovascular problems. Then there's sodium citrate, another chemical additive that gives processed cheese its characteristic smooth texture. This substance disrupts your body's natural pH balance and can trigger chronic inflammation throughout your entire system. Inflammation is the root cause of arthritis pain, joint stiffness, and many of the aches and pains that people accept as normal aging. But they're not normal. They're often the direct result of what you're eating. Processed American cheese also contains artificial colors like annatto and paprika extract. While these might sound natural, they're chemically processed in ways that make them inflammatory triggers for many seniors. These artificial colors have been linked to increased joint pain, digestive problems, and even mood changes in older adults. But perhaps most concerning is the high sodium content. A single slice of processed American cheese contains nearly 400 milligrams of sodium. That's almost 20% of your entire daily recommended intake in just one thin slice. For seniors, who are already at higher risk for high blood pressure and heart disease, this level of sodium is dangerous. When you eat processed American cheese regularly, you're flooding your system with inflammatory chemicals and excessive sodium. Your body responds by retaining fluid, which puts strain on your heart and kidneys. Your blood pressure rises, your joints become inflamed and painful. Your energy levels drop because your body is working overtime to process these artificial substances. I've seen countless seniors who eliminated processed American cheese from their diets and experienced dramatic improvements in their arthritis pain. Within just 2 to 3 weeks, their morning stiffness decreased, their joint pain became more manageable, their blood pressure readings improved, all from removing this one inflammatory food from their daily routine. The food industry spends millions of dollars marketing processed cheese to seniors, emphasizing the calcium content and convenience factor. But what they don't tell you is that the calcium in processed cheese is poorly absorbed by your body due to all the chemical additives. You're getting very little nutritional benefit while exposing yourself to significant health risks. Mary, a 72-year-old woman from Texas, contacted me after years of worsening arthritis in her hands and knees. She had been eating processed American cheese almost daily for decades, thinking she was getting calcium for her bones. Within 1 month of switching to real natural cheese in smaller portions, Mary's joint pain decreased so dramatically that she was able to reduce her pain medication for the first time in 5 years. If you're currently eating processed American cheese, I understand that it might seem convenient and familiar, but your health is worth more than convenience. There are so many better options available that will give you genuine nutrition without the inflammatory chemicals and excessive sodium that are slowly damaging your body. The second cheese that poses serious health risks for seniors is blue cheese. Now, I know this might surprise many of you because blue cheese is often considered a gourmet, sophisticated food. It's served at upscale restaurants and featured on elegant cheese boards. Many people assume that if it's expensive and fancy, it must be healthy. But when it comes to blue cheese and aging bodies, this assumption couldn't be more wrong. Blue cheese gets its characteristic appearance and sharp flavor from a specific type of mold called Penicillium roqueforti. While this mold is technically safe for consumption in healthy younger adults, it becomes problematic for seniors whose immune systems and detoxification abilities have naturally declined with age. Here's what happens in your body when you eat blue cheese after age 50. The mold produces compounds called mycotoxins. These are naturally occurring toxins that your liver must work to filter out of your system. When you're young and your liver is functioning at peak efficiency, this usually isn't a problem. But as we age, our liver's ability to process and eliminate toxins becomes significantly reduced. A study conducted by the Institute of Aging Research found that adults over 60 have approximately 30% less liver detoxification capacity than adults in their 30s. This means that mycotoxins from blue cheese can accumulate in your system over time, leading to what researchers call chronic low-level toxicity. The symptoms of this toxicity are often mistaken for normal aging: persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest, brain fog and difficulty concentrating, digestive issues like bloating, gas, and irregular bowel movements, joint pain and stiffness, skin problems, sleep disturbances. Sound familiar? These are all signs that your body is struggling to process toxins that are accumulating faster than they can be eliminated. Blue cheese is also extremely high in saturated fat and cholesterol. A single ounce contains nearly 6 grams of saturated fat and 21 milligrams of cholesterol. For seniors who are already at increased risk for cardiovascular disease, regularly consuming blue cheese can significantly elevate your risk of heart attack and stroke. But there's another hidden danger in blue cheese that most people never consider. The aging process used to create blue cheese often involves storing it in environments where it can absorb additional harmful compounds from the air and surfaces around it. Many commercial blue cheeses contain trace amounts of heavy metals like lead and mercury that accumulate during the extended aging process. Robert, a 65-year-old retired teacher from California, had been experiencing what he described as mental cloudiness for over 2 years. He had trouble remembering names, felt tired all the time, and noticed his thinking wasn't as sharp as it used to be. His doctor ran tests, but found nothing obviously wrong. When we reviewed Robert's diet, we discovered he had been eating blue cheese almost daily as part of his afternoon snack routine. Within 6 weeks of eliminating blue cheese from his diet, Robert's mental clarity began to return. His energy levels improved dramatically. The persistent digestive issues he had been experiencing for months completely resolved. His wife told me it was like getting her husband back. The food industry markets blue cheese to seniors as a source of calcium and protein, but the reality is that there are much safer ways to get these nutrients. The risks associated with regular blue cheese consumption far outweigh any potential benefits, especially for people over 50. The third cheese that seniors need to avoid might shock you the most because it's been promoted as a health food for decades. I'm talking about commercial cottage cheese, the kind you find in large containers in every grocery store. The cheese that dietitians recommend for weight loss and that many seniors eat thinking they're making an excellent choice for their health. But here's the devastating truth about commercial cottage cheese that the food industry desperately wants to keep hidden. A single cup of regular commercial cottage cheese contains between 800 to 1,200 milligrams of sodium. That's more than half of your entire daily recommended sodium intake in just one serving. For seniors, this level of sodium consumption is absolutely catastrophic for your health. Your kidneys, which are already working less efficiently than they did when you were younger, become overwhelmed trying to process this massive sodium load. Your body responds by retaining fluid to dilute the excess sodium in your bloodstream. This fluid retention doesn't just make you feel bloated and uncomfortable. It puts enormous strain on your cardiovascular system, Your heart has to work harder to pump the extra fluid through your body. Your blood pressure rises. The delicate blood vessels in your kidneys, eyes, and brain become damaged from the increased pressure. Dr. Sarah Mitchell from the American Heart Association recently published research showing that seniors who regularly consume high-sodium foods like commercial cottage cheese have a 73% higher risk of developing heart failure within 5 years compared to those who limit their sodium intake. But the sodium isn't the only problem with commercial cottage cheese. Most brands contain a cocktail of artificial preservatives and stabilizers that can trigger inflammatory responses in aging bodies. Carrageenan is one of the most concerning additives. This seaweed-derived thickener has been linked to digestive inflammation, particularly in older adults whose digestive systems are more sensitive. Many commercial cottage cheese products also contain modified food starch and various gums like xanthan gum and guar gum. These additives can disrupt your gut bacteria balance, leading to digestive problems, nutrient absorption issues, and even immune system dysfunction. The calcium that cottage cheese is famous for providing becomes virtually useless when consumed alongside such high levels of sodium and artificial additives. The sodium interferes with calcium absorption, while the preservatives can actually cause your body to excrete calcium through your urine. Linda, a 69-year-old woman from Florida, had been eating cottage cheese twice daily for over 10 years, believing she was protecting her bone health and maintaining a healthy weight. But Linda was also struggling with high blood pressure, swollen ankles, and persistent digestive issues that her doctors couldn't explain. When Linda eliminated commercial cottage cheese from her diet, the changes were remarkable. Within 2 weeks, her ankle swelling disappeared completely. Her blood pressure dropped to levels she hadn't seen in years. Her digestive problems resolved, and she actually lost weight because her body was no longer retaining excess fluid. The cottage cheese industry specifically targets seniors with marketing messages about protein, calcium, and weight management. But they conveniently ignore the fact that the massive sodium content and artificial additives in their products can cause serious health problems for aging bodies. If you love cottage cheese and don't want to give it up completely, there are much safer alternatives available. Look for organic low-sodium varieties with no artificial additives, or better yet, consider making your own fresh cottage cheese at home where you can control exactly what goes into it. Now that you understand which 3 cheeses pose the greatest risks, I need to explain why these foods become so much more dangerous as we age. This is crucial information that most doctors never discuss with their patients, and it's the key to understanding why foods you might have eaten safely for years are now causing problems. When you reach age 50 and beyond, your body undergoes significant changes that affect how you process food, absorb nutrients, and eliminate toxins. These changes aren't just cosmetic or superficial. They're fundamental alterations in your body's basic functioning that make you much more vulnerable to the harmful effects of processed and artificial foods. First, let's talk about your digestive system. Starting around age 50, your stomach produces significantly less hydrochloric acid. This acid is essential for breaking down proteins and absorbing minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron. When you don't produce enough stomach acid, the artificial additives and preservatives in processed cheeses become much harder for your body to handle. Instead of being properly broken down and eliminated, these chemicals can accumulate in your tissues, triggering inflammation and interfering with normal cellular function. This is why many seniors suddenly develop food sensitivities to foods they've eaten their entire lives without problems. Your liver function also changes dramatically with age. By age 60, your liver's ability to process toxins and metabolize drugs is reduced by approximately 40% compared to when you were in your 20s. This means that the mycotoxins in blue cheese, the chemical preservatives in processed American cheese, and the artificial additives in commercial cottage cheese all stay in your system much longer than they should. This extended exposure to toxins is what causes the chronic inflammation that so many seniors experience. The persistent joint pain, the morning stiffness, the general feeling of being unwell that many people accept as normal aging. These symptoms are often your body's way of telling you that it's overwhelmed by toxins it can't efficiently eliminate. Your kidneys also become less efficient with age. By age 70, most people have lost about 30% of their kidney function compared to their younger years. This reduction in kidney function makes it much harder for your body to process the excessive sodium found in commercial cottage cheese and processed American cheese. When your kidneys can't effectively filter excess sodium from your blood, your body retains fluid to dilute the sodium concentration. This leads to swelling in your legs, ankles, and feet. It increases the workload on your heart and raises your blood pressure. Over time, this constant strain can lead to heart failure, kidney disease, and stroke. Your immune system undergoes what scientists call immunosenescence as you age. This means your immune system becomes less responsive and less able to distinguish between harmful substances and normal body tissues. The mold compounds in blue cheese and the artificial additives in processed cheeses can trigger inappropriate immune responses, leading to chronic inflammation and autoimmune-like symptoms. Many seniors develop what appears to be arthritis or fibromyalgia, but when they eliminate inflammatory foods from their diets, their symptoms improve dramatically. This suggests that much of what we consider inevitable aging might actually be the result of accumulated food-related inflammation. Your metabolism also slows significantly with age. You burn fewer calories at rest, and your body becomes more efficient at storing fat, particularly around your midsection. The high-calorie, high-sodium, high-fat content of these three dangerous cheeses becomes much more problematic when your metabolism can't efficiently process these nutrients. Weight gain after age 50 isn't just a cosmetic concern. Extra weight puts additional strain on your joints, increases inflammation throughout your body, and raises your risk of diabetes, heart disease, and certain cancers. Every pound of excess weight you carry puts 4 pounds of additional pressure on your knees with every step you take. The health consequences of regularly consuming these three dangerous cheeses don't appear overnight. They develop slowly, silently, over months and years. By the time symptoms become obvious, significant damage may have already occurred. This is why it's so important to understand these long-term effects and take action now to protect your health. Let's start with what happens to your joints when you regularly consume inflammatory foods like processed American cheese, blue cheese, and commercial cottage cheese. Chronic inflammation is the primary driver of arthritis, joint pain, and mobility problems in seniors. When you eat foods high in artificial preservatives and excessive sodium, your body's inflammatory response becomes chronically activated. This means your immune system is constantly producing inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. These cytokines travel through your bloodstream and accumulate in your joints, particularly in areas that experience the most wear and tear like your knees, hips, hands, and spine. Over time, this chronic inflammation breaks down the cartilage that cushions your joints. Without adequate cartilage, your bones begin to rub against each other, causing pain, stiffness, and reduced range of motion. What many people don't realize is that this inflammatory damage is often preventable by eliminating inflammatory foods from your diet. Dr. James Rodriguez, a rheumatologist at Johns Hopkins University, conducted a study following 500 seniors with early-stage arthritis for 3 years. Half of the participants eliminated processed and high-sodium foods from their diets, while the other half continued eating normally. The results were striking. The group that eliminated inflammatory foods showed 60% less progression of joint damage and reported significantly less pain compared to the control group. The cardiovascular effects of these dangerous cheeses are equally concerning. The excessive sodium in commercial cottage cheese and processed American cheese doesn't just raise your blood pressure temporarily. It causes lasting damage to your blood vessels that accumulates over time. High sodium intake causes your blood vessels to become stiff and inflexible. This condition, called arterial stiffness, makes your heart work harder to pump blood throughout your body. Over time, this increased workload can lead to an enlarged heart, heart failure, and irregular heart rhythms. The saturated fat and cholesterol in blue cheese contribute to the formation of arterial plaques. These plaques narrow your arteries and reduce blood flow to vital organs, including your heart, brain, and kidneys. When a plaque ruptures, it can cause a blood clot that leads to a heart attack or stroke. But perhaps most insidious are the digestive consequences of regularly consuming these processed cheeses. Your digestive system is home to trillions of beneficial bacteria that are essential for immune function, nutrient absorption, and even mood regulation. The artificial preservatives and chemical additives in processed cheeses disrupt this delicate bacterial balance. When your gut bacteria become imbalanced, a condition called dysbiosis, it triggers a cascade of health problems throughout your entire body. Your immune system becomes overactive, leading to chronic inflammation. Your ability to absorb nutrients from food becomes impaired, leading to deficiencies even when you're eating a seemingly healthy diet. Gut dysbiosis has been linked to depression, anxiety, cognitive decline, and even increased risk of infections in seniors. Many people don't realize that the persistent digestive issues they experience, the bloating, gas, irregular bowel movements, and stomach discomfort, are often directly related to the processed foods they're consuming. Carol, a 74-year-old retired nurse from Michigan, had been struggling with what her doctor diagnosed as irritable bowel syndrome for over 5 years. She experienced daily bloating, alternating constipation and diarrhea, and persistent abdominal discomfort. She had tried numerous medications and dietary changes with little success. When Carol eliminated the 3 dangerous cheeses from her diet and focused on eating only natural, unprocessed foods, her digestive symptoms began improving within days. Within 6 weeks, her digestive problems had completely resolved for the first time in years. Her energy improved, her mood lifted, and she felt like she had regained control over her health. The cognitive effects of chronic inflammation from processed foods are perhaps the most frightening consequence of all. Research has shown that chronic inflammation in the body directly contributes to inflammation in the brain, which can accelerate cognitive decline and increase the risk of dementia. The toxins and artificial additives in these cheeses can cross the blood-brain barrier and interfere with normal brain function. Many seniors who eliminate processed foods from their diets report improvements in memory, concentration, and mental clarity within weeks. The food industry spends billions of dollars every year, specifically targeting seniors with carefully crafted marketing messages designed to make you believe that processed cheeses are not only safe but beneficial for your health. Understanding these deceptive tactics is crucial for protecting yourself from making food choices that could harm your health. One of the most common marketing tricks used by cheese manufacturers is the calcium claim. You've seen it on countless packages of processed American cheese and cottage cheese. Bold statements like "excellent source of calcium" or "supports bone health." These claims are technically true, but incredibly misleading. While these processed cheeses do contain calcium, the form of calcium they contain is poorly absorbed by your body due to the artificial additives and excessive sodium they also contain. The sodium actually causes your body to excrete calcium through your urine, so you may be getting less calcium benefit than if you didn't eat these cheeses at all. The food industry also loves to use what marketing experts call health halos. They'll prominently display one positive attribute while hiding the negative aspects. For example, cottage cheese containers often feature large text saying high in protein, while the excessive sodium content is buried in tiny print on the back label. Another deceptive practice is the use of terms like natural flavors and real cheese on processed cheese products. These terms are legally meaningless but psychologically powerful. Natural flavors can include dozens of artificial chemicals, and real cheese can be highly processed as long as it started with actual milk. The blue cheese industry has been particularly clever in marketing their product as sophisticated and health-conscious. They emphasize the probiotic benefits of the mold cultures while completely ignoring the mycotoxin risks that are especially dangerous for seniors. They've convinced many people that because blue cheese is expensive and gourmet, it must be healthy. Food companies also exploit seniors' concerns about getting adequate nutrition by creating fear around protein and calcium deficiency. They position their processed cheese products as convenient solutions to these concerns, knowing that many seniors are worried about maintaining their health as they age. The reality is that you can get all the calcium and protein you need from much safer, healthier sources without exposing yourself to the inflammatory chemicals and excessive sodium found in these processed cheeses. Now that you understand which cheeses to avoid, let me share with you the safe, delicious alternatives that will give you all the nutritional benefits you're looking for without any of the health risks. The first safe alternative is organic grass-fed cheddar cheese in moderate portions. Real cheddar cheese that's been aged naturally without artificial additives provides excellent calcium and protein without the inflammatory chemicals found in processed cheese. Look for brands that list only milk, salt, and natural enzymes in their ingredients. The key with cheddar cheese is portion control. A serving size should be about 1 ounce, roughly the size of your thumb. This provides approximately 200 milligrams of calcium and 7 grams of high-quality protein without excessive sodium or artificial additives. The second excellent choice is fresh mozzarella made from whole milk. Fresh mozzarella is naturally lower in sodium than aged cheeses and contains beneficial probiotics that support digestive health. It's creamy, satisfying, and versatile enough to use in many different dishes. When shopping for mozzarella, look for varieties stored in water or whey rather than vacuum-sealed packages. The fresh varieties have fewer preservatives and a cleaner ingredient list. A 2-ounce serving provides substantial protein and calcium while being gentle on your digestive system. The third safe option that might surprise you is goat cheese. Many seniors who have trouble digesting cow's milk cheese find that goat cheese is much easier on their system. Goat cheese is naturally lower in lactose and contains different proteins that are less likely to trigger inflammatory responses. Goat cheese is also naturally lower in sodium than most commercial cheeses and provides excellent nutrition in smaller portions. The key is choosing plain goat cheese without added herbs or flavorings that might contain preservatives. When shopping for any cheese, here are the critical guidelines to follow. First, read the ingredient list carefully. It should be short and contain only recognizable ingredients. Avoid anything with sodium phosphate, sodium citrate, artificial colors, or preservatives. Second, check the sodium content. Look for cheeses with less than 200 milligrams of sodium per ounce. This will help you stay within healthy sodium limits while still enjoying cheese as part of your diet. Third, choose organic when possible. Organic cheeses are made without artificial hormones, antibiotics, or synthetic additives that can be particularly harmful to aging bodies. Fourth, pay attention to portion sizes. Even healthy cheeses should be consumed in moderation. 1 to 2 ounces per day is an appropriate amount for most seniors. If you've watched this entire video, it tells me something important about you. You care about your health, you're willing to learn difficult truths, and you're ready to take action to protect your well-being as you age. That puts you ahead of millions of people who continue to make choices that slowly undermine their health without ever understanding why. The information I've shared with you today isn't meant to frighten you or make you feel hopeless. It's meant to empower you. Knowledge is power, especially when it comes to your health. Now you know which foods to avoid and which safe alternatives to choose instead. Making these changes doesn't have to be overwhelming or difficult. Start small. This week, eliminate just one of the 3 dangerous cheeses from your diet. Replace it with one of the safe alternatives I've recommended. Pay attention to how you feel. Notice if your energy improves, if your joint pain decreases, if your digestion feels better. Your body has an amazing ability to heal and regenerate when you give it the right tools. By eliminating inflammatory foods and choosing nourishing alternatives, you're giving your body the best possible chance to age gracefully and maintain your independence and vitality. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. There's an entire community of people here who are committed to aging healthily and maintaining their quality of life. Share your experiences in the comments below. Tell us which changes you're going to make first. If this video has opened your eyes and given you valuable information that could improve your health, please hit that like button. Share this video with friends and family members who need to hear this message. Subscribe to our channel and ring the notification bell so you never miss important health information that could change your life. Your health is your most valuable asset. Every choice you make either supports your well-being or undermines it. Choose wisely. Choose foods that nourish and heal your body. Choose to age with strength, vitality, and independence. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll continue exploring the foods and lifestyle choices that can help you live your healthiest, most vibrant life after 50.